In 1993, archivists at Graceland walked into a room that had been sealed for 48 years. Not the attic, not Elvis's bedroom. A room on the first floor that nobody had been allowed to enter since 1945. The door stayed locked even after Graceland opened to the public in 1982, even after millions of tourists walked through the mansion, because someone was still living inside. When they finally opened it, they found a wicker trunk filled with items Elvis's mother, Gladys, had been saving since he was 15 years old. Inside were fan photos, letters from teenage girls, and buried at the bottom, in a shoebox, was something that would change how the world saw Elvis Presley. When Elvis died on August 16, 1977, Graceland didn't become a museum. It stayed a family home. His father, Vernon, lived there until 1979. His grandmother, Minnie Mae, until 1980, and his aunt, Delta Mae Presley Biggs, lived there from 1967 all the way until 1993. Delta was Vernon's sister. She'd moved into Graceland after her husband died, and Elvis had given her a room on the first floor, the room that had belonged to his mother, Gladys, before she died in 1958. When Graceland opened for public tours on June 7, 1982, Delta was still living there, with her dog, Edmund. She'd walk through the mansion while tourists were being guided downstairs. She'd use the kitchen. She'd sit in areas off the tour route, and her bedroom stayed completely off limits. For 11 years, over 6 million people toured Graceland. None of them saw Delta's room. Delta died in 1993. She was the last family member to live at Graceland, and when she died, archivists finally had access. Angie Marchese is the Vice President of Archives and Exhibits at Graceland. She's been working there for decades, overseeing over 1 million Elvis artifacts. But when she talks about her most important discovery, she doesn't mention the jumpsuits or the gold records. She talks about a wicker trunk in a closet in Delta's room. We didn't really get in there until '93, when Delta passed away, Marchese explained. And so we went into the closet and found a wicker trunk, and in there literally was memorabilia of Elvis's from the 50s. And it's just like finding a treasure in an attic somewhere. Inside the trunk were shoeboxes, fan photos sent to Gladys Presley in the 1950s when Elvis was just starting to become famous, letters from teenage girls asking for autographs, newspaper clippings Gladys had saved. And at the very bottom of one shoebox, Marchese found it. Elvis Presley's high school graduation program and his graduation tassel. For me, that was really one of my first discoveries in archives that really went to another level about who this person was, Marchese said. Because that was a mom saving a memorable moment in her son's life. Elvis graduated from Humes High School in Memphis on June 3rd, 1953. He was 18 years old. In less than a year, he'd walk into Sun Records. In 2 years, he'd have his first #1 hit. In 4 years, he'd be the most famous person on earth. But in June of 1953, he was just a kid graduating high school, and his mother kept his graduation program, because that's what mothers do. Another discovery came from Graceland's archives, a strip of photo booth pictures that nobody had seen before. Elvis is probably about 15, Marchese described, and it was a photo booth thing. And you can see it was like the first picture, he's got his jacket on, his shirt's buttoned up, he's got a tie. Second picture, the tie is undone, but the shirt's still buttoned up. In the photos, you watch Elvis transforming from a clean-cut teenager to someone experimenting with rebellion. The jacket comes off, the shirt gets unbuttoned. By the final photo, he's showing the early signs of the persona that would make him famous. That's the future king of rock and roll, right? Marchese reflected. But here's what made these discoveries so powerful. Elvis Presley died at 42 years old. For most of his life, he'd been Elvis the performer, Elvis the icon. The world knew him as the man who changed music, who drove teenage girls crazy, who became so famous he couldn't leave his house. These items in Gladys's trunk showed something different. A 15-year-old in a photo booth, an 18-year-old graduating high school, a son whose mother saved his graduation tassel because she was proud of him. Gladys Presley died on August 14, 1958. She was 46 years old Elvis was 23. He was in the army, stationed in Germany. He got emergency leave and flew home, but by the time he arrived, she was already gone. Elvis never recovered from losing his mother. People who knew him said he was never the same after August of 1958. He kept her belongings. He kept her clothes hanging in her closet at Graceland. He kept her bedroom exactly as she left it. And after his father and grandmother died, after Delta moved into that room, all of Gladys's saved treasures stayed hidden in a trunk for decades. All of Gladys's belongings, his army stuff was up there, Marchese explained about the attic. Elvis's army gear is now on permanent display across the street from Graceland. When Elvis returned from Germany in 1960, he came home as Sergeant Presley. The uniforms, the patches, the photographs, all of it had been stored in the Graceland attic until archivists could properly catalog it. Some of Gladys's clothes still hang in the closet of her old bedroom. Tourists can see them during the mansion tour. It's one of the most emotional parts of visiting Graceland. Seeing her clothes, knowing Elvis, kept them there for 19 years after she died. The last record Elvis played is still on the record player in his bedroom upstairs. A styrofoam cup still sits on a shelf, exactly where he left it on August 16, 1977. His bedroom and bathroom are maintained by Angie Marchese and kept exactly as they were the day he died, at the request of his daughter, Lisa Marie Presley. It's like he just got up and left, Marchese has said. But tours don't go upstairs. They never have. Only family members and Marchese are allowed up there. Because even though Elvis has been dead for over 47 years, Graceland still protects what's left of his privacy. Visitors see the downstairs, the jungle room, the TV room, the pool room, the trophy building, but the upstairs, where Elvis lived his private life, where he spent his final hours, where he died on the bathroom floor, that stays sealed. Just like Delta's room stayed sealed for 11 years while she lived there, just like that wicker trunk stayed hidden for 48 years. Some things at Graceland are meant to remain private. The last record Elvis played is still on the record player in his bedroom upstairs. A styrofoam cup still sits on a shelf, exactly where he left it on August 16, 1977. His bedroom and bathroom are maintained by Angie Marchese and kept exactly as they were the day he died, at the request of his daughter, Lisa Marie Presley. It's like he just got up and left, Marchese has said. But tours don't go upstairs. They never have. Only family members and Marchese are allowed up there. Because even though Elvis has been dead for over 47 years, Graceland still protects what's left of his privacy. Visitors see the downstairs, the jungle room, the TV room, the pool room, the trophy building. But the upstairs, where Elvis lived his private life, where he spent his final hours, where he died on the bathroom floor, that stays sealed, just like Delta's room stayed sealed for 11 years while she lived there, just like that wicker trunk stayed hidden for 48 years. Some things at Graceland are meant to remain private. Here's what the archives at Graceland can't hide. Elvis Presley died from polypharmacy. 14 different drugs were found in his system during the autopsy. Codeine, morphine, Quaaludes, Valium, Dilaudid, phenobarbital. The official cause of death was cardiac arrhythmia, but the toxicology report told the real story. Dr. George Nicopolis, known as Dr. Nick, was Elvis's personal physician from 1970 until 1977. In the first 8 months of 1977 alone, Dr. Nick prescribed over 10,000 doses of amphetamines, barbiturates, narcotics, tranquilizers, sleeping pills, laxatives, and hormones for Elvis. In 1980, Dr. Nick was indicted on 14 counts of overprescribing drugs. He was acquitted. The jury concluded he had tried to act in the best interests of his patient. But in 1995, the Tennessee Board of Medical Examiners permanently revoked his medical license for years of overprescribing medications. Elvis was found on the bathroom floor of Graceland on August 16, 1977. His girlfriend Ginger Alden discovered him. Paramedics were called. He was transported to Baptist Memorial Hospital, where he was pronounced dead at 3:30 p.m. He was 42 years old. Over 3,500 mourning fans passed by his coffin, placed in the foyer of Graceland. A private funeral with 200 mourners was held on August 18th in the music room. Elvis was originally buried at Forest Hill Cemetery next to his mother, but after an attempted theft of his body, both Elvis and Gladys were moved to the meditation garden at Graceland. Today, Elvis is buried there alongside his mother Gladys, his father Vernon, his grandmother Minnie Mae, his daughter Lisa Marie, and his grandson Benjamin Keogh. Graceland opened to the public on June 7th, 1982. 3,024 fans toured the mansion on the first day. Delta Presley Biggs and Elvis Presley Enterprises CEO Jack Soden cut the ribbon. Priscilla Presley was there to welcome guests. For 11 years, Delta lived in that house while tourists walked through. The kitchen wasn't added to the tour until 1995, 2 years after Delta died, because it had been too close to her living space. Today, over 650,000 people visit Graceland every year. It's the second most visited private home in America after the White House. In 1991, it was listed in the National Register of Historic Places, the first site recognized for significance related to rock music. In 2006, it was declared a National Historic Landmark. But here's what most visitors don't realize. While they're walking through the mansion, looking at the white couch in the living room, staring at the stained glass peacocks in the music room, standing in the jungle room where Elvis recorded his final studio sessions, they're walking through a house where 4 generations of Presley family members lived and died. Gladys died in 1958, Vernon in 1979, Minnie Mae in 1980, Delta in 1993. All of them called Graceland home. All of them left pieces of their lives behind, in closets, in trunks, in rooms that stayed sealed, until someone finally had permission to look inside. The graduation program and tassel that Angie Marchese found in Gladys's trunk are now part of Graceland's permanent collection. They're artifacts that remind visitors that before Elvis was the king of rock and roll, he was just a kid from Memphis whose mother saved his graduation tassel in a shoebox. That wicker trunk in Delta's room, sealed away for 48 years, while Gladys, Vernon, Minnie Mae, and Delta all lived and died at Graceland, held the proof Elvis Presley was loved. Not as a star, not as an icon, but as a son. And his mother kept every precious memory she could. The fan photos sent to her in the 1950s, the letters from teenage girls asking for Elvis's autograph, the graduation program from June 3rd, 1953, the tassel from his cap, all of it hidden away in a closet, waiting to be found long after everyone who'd known that young boy was gone. When Angie Marchese talks about that discovery, you can hear it in her voice. The wonder, the privilege of being the person who got to open that trunk and see what Gladys had saved. The responsibility of preserving those items so future generations can understand who Elvis was before the world got hold of him. That was a mom saving a memorable moment in her son's life, Marchese said, and that's what Graceland is. Underneath all the tourists and the gift shops and the gold records on the walls, it's a house where a mother saved her son's graduation tassel, where a father kept his son's bedroom exactly as he left it, where an aunt lived for 26 years, protecting a room that held memories too precious to disturb. The room at Graceland that was locked for 48 years wasn't hiding scandal, it wasn't concealing secrets, it was protecting love. A mother's love for her son, a family's love for a boy who became so famous, the world forgot he was human. And when that door finally opened in 1993, what they found wasn't shocking. It was heartbreaking, because it showed that underneath everything, Elvis Presley was just a kid whose mom was proud he graduated high school. If you want to hear more untold stories about the legends who changed music history, subscribe to King of Rock and Roll and hit that like button. Stay tuned for more content.